So ISO systems, and then there's another example how if you implement, we already had many implementation of REST services. How can you consume those REST services, and then with the different technologies and frameworks like Spring Template, Spring Boot, and then so on and so forth. That means if you program with the Spring Boot or Spring frameworks, then you need to be, this is the basically in the top of Java. This is already Java. So that means it's a different ideas and concept on programming, programming approach. If you are programming with the Spring Boot, that means you can write down everything in Java, and then Spring Boot make life easier for the development to quickly implement the applications, and doesn't matter in the desktop application or web application or other small devices based application. This make life easier for Spring Boot and Spring. That means all cases you need to understand, you need to learn, or you have to be understand the Java, basic Java programming, Java SE, Java EE, and Java ME. That means that's our intention to give it to you from very beginning level to upper levels. So this is one of the microservices. You see the Java is plain as plain. There's many example in our channels. You see the plain as standard JDBC, Spring JDBC, and Spring JDBC template from the Spring Boot, and then so on and so forth. So got the idea how we try to cover why we start this the very beginning course of Java for beginners and professionals, and also we already started the um, Groovy beginners and professionals, and Spring Boot beginners and professionals, but we didn't enough have time to casting it, and but we will try our best to come up to give it a beginner course, because we have many professionals examples. Those who has already programmed it with Java or Spring Boot, they can start from here. Those do have no experience, no idea, like students or freshers, they need to be they can go with our beginner course, beginner, not the course, the screencast that we are trying to do for the Java, for the Groovy, and for the Spring and Spring Boot and other. We already started other scripting language also. They can see here the Spring, JavaScript based different third-party framework. We have many examples, because if you try to implement the web application, that means you have to be you somehow you need your JavaScript, you need jQuery, you need third-party JavaScript libraries like map related libraries like OpenLayers, Leaflet, or Google Map libraries. So that means you need to learn also the third-party JavaScript libraries or other libraries that you needed for your implement your features or your feature or functionalities implementation that you need. That's why we try to we already had many example like from professionals examples, but we try to now give it to you the chance, the possibility to learn from the very beginning levels, and then you can start the professionals one. That's our expectation, that's we are looking for, that's we try to do with you, and you can get it from there. That's our intention for this one. So go back to the presentation. Those who have experience for Java programming, they can start from here. All screencasts, that's what you need. Depending on the technology stack which you are looking for, you can go this way. And those who are the new and or very beginners in the Java programming, it doesn't matter in the SE or E programming, they will go with the beginner tutorials. So we already covered it. That this will be the screencast number 42. From Java beginners to professionals with Java SC, EE, and ME. And we will, after the presentation, we will try to install the Java and then Java JDK, and we will talk about a little bit the JDK, Zihari, and JVM, SDK, and all things together. Well, let's discuss about that one, the basic idea and concept, how it works, and after the installation and done, then we will try to use the different IDE, like what I mean, the IDE, integrated development domain like Eclipse standard or Eclipse EE, or we already program it many part of the application with Java. You see the Java EE, Eclipse EE with Java EE, and we have many examples. Many we are trying to do the application that's we are talking about the Java SE with the Java Swing. We have many examples, many tutorial. We will go together, but for IDE case, we will use the Eclipse. And even though we sometimes some project we also use the really a good IDE, also IntelliJ IDE in the community editions. Depending which IDE you try to use it's completely up to you what type of IDE you use, even though you can simply notepad and compile it with the command mode to run your application. That's still possible. That's I said. It is depend on you what type of IDE use. Basically, is the most popular one, Eclipse, and then also the IntelliJ, and even though other Visual Studio Code, other IDE you can use the implementation. But we will look for the possibilities. We will try to implement, and then when our presentation part is done, then we will go to the installations, and then start the project with the respective IDE. Maybe we'll start the IDE with Eclipse, and someone give some idea how can you start with the IDE IntelliJ in Community Edition, and then we can go together. So that means so we covered it already. What you got the idea, Java and standard edition, where you can apply it normally, where we are applying, and Java EE, Java SE for the desktop application normally, and then Java EE for the Java web applications. So here is the difference. What is Java SE and EE That's we are trying to give it to you the really abstract level. So Java Standard Edition basically developing the extra application. There is I already said Java Swing and Applet and so on. There's the GUI development frameworks and from the form of the core or base UI. So that means all the Java classes, interfaces, all things. At least I understand like Java SE almost have a 27,000 classes or maybe millions of methods inside the Java core APIs and Java programming language, and that's the more that's the core. That's why I said Java SE is a core form of core or base APIs that's we need, and then Java EE on top of the Java SE. That's I mean the basically you can simply say SE is the fundamentals or core of Java programming, and then EE, the Java EE Enterprise Edition is the top of the Java SE. It's based on it's implementing the web applications. So it is run as a standard programs that's in the background, your desktop application or into your JVM, the virtual machines. Developing web application, you see the different technologies like JSF, JFS, and Java Spring Boot, microservices, SOAP, REST, and so on, RPC, and so on, so forth. You see that last word, Java SE plus additional features, the APIs and plugin, that's called Java EE. So run as a standard program and in the browsers. And that's I mean it's the all web application running into the browser. That's I mean. Java ME developing smart devices, application like mobile, pads, and so on, so forth. So you got the clear idea where you need to be start, where we need to start. So Java SE, when this is the core and basic base APIs of Java programming, and Java EE in top of the SE, and it has additional technologies or frameworks where you can try to implement or where we are doing the couple of years, 20 years or 25 years web application development based on the Java EE with the additional support of frameworks like JSP, JSF, Spring Boot, and other additional frameworks with the which is supported the Java standard Java programming language, Java ME, also the mobile platform. So this screencast we didn't cover the ME too much, but we will try to give it to you idea how it's possible as